I'd like to call to order the regular meeting on August 24th, 2020. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, thank you for the mighty works you are bringing to our city in unison with promise that our city would overflow with prosperity. Lord, we declare our city belongs to you. Deliver us from self-righteousness, apathy, fear, and unbelief in moving your spirit and power to intervene and stand against this onslaught of this pandemic. We pray for your special shield to protect our health workers, our police and fire, and those workers who daily serve our public. In your name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Everyone is present. Our city clerk will now give information about how to participate in tonight's meeting.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, city council meetings are closed to the public. Our residents have several ways to address the council. They may submit their questions and comments to publiccomments@goodyearaz.gov, and they can view the meeting using Facebook, also YouTube for after the fact, and then we also have a link on our agendas page using Granicus. The public may also contact the mayor and council at any time by sending an email to gycouncil@goodyearaz.gov.
Thank you very much. Will the city clerk please read the consent agenda items 1 through 20 by title only, please?
Number 1, approval of minutes. Number 2, adopt resolution number 2020-2043, authorizing the execution and recording of various easements and a special warranty deed, approval of a sewer line easement development agreement, the conveyances, and providing an effective date for the acceptance of the conveyances, providing direction regarding recordation of various documents, authorizing city manager to execute documents and take action, and providing for an effective date. Number 3, accept the dedication of special warranty deeds from JRC Goodyear LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, and CP Goodyear LLC, a Delaware limited liability company for portions of Litchfield Road and Goodyear Parkway. Number 4, accept the dedication of a non-exclusive drainage and access easement from NNP3 Estrella Mountain Ranch LLC, required for the development of Estrella Parcel 12.23 Phase 1. Number 5, approve the intergovernmental agreement with Agua Fria Union High School District number 216 for school resource officer services for Millennium High School. Number 6, approve the intergovernmental agreement with Agua Fria Union High School District number 216 for school resource officer services for Desert Edge High School. Number 7, accept the Department of Justice grant to provide funding to states, local units of government, and tribes to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. Number 8, recommend approval of a new Series 9 liquor store liquor license for Target number 2400. Number 9, recommend approval of a new Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Taco Redemption. Number 10, recommend approval of a new Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Cantina at Presidio. Number 11, recommend approval of a new Series 10 beer and wine liquor license for Aldi. Number 12, approve the pro tem judge appointments. Number 13, approve the council appointments to the Community Development Advisory Committee. Number 14, approve the appointments. Number 15, approve the minor land division of Sparrow Goodyear. Number 16, approve Hillstone Residences at Canyon Trails final plat. Number 17, adopt resolution number 2020-2085, approving a development agreement for Estrella Parcel 12.23 Phase 1, providing authorization and direction to take actions and execute documents necessary to carry out the intent of the resolution and development agreement, and providing for an effective date. Number 18, Estrella Parcel 12.23 Phase 1 final plat. Number 19, adopt resolution number 2020-2084, approving a development agreement for Estrella Parcel 12.24, providing authorization and direction to take actions and execute documents necessary to carry out the intent of the resolution and development agreement, and providing for an effective date. Number 20, approve Estrella Parcel 12.24 final plat.
Well, thank you. That was a long read for you tonight. So does anyone on the council wish to remove an item from this consent agenda? Councilman Pizzillo?
Mine's more of questions on just 5 and 6.
Could someone come forward on 5 and 6 and answer these questions?
Well, I was really looking for the finance director. Is he here?
Oh, is anybody here from finance?
I don't believe so.
Well, maybe
I'd be
he
glad
can
to take
answer.
the question, though. I
Okay, thank
believe
you.
we'll be able to answer it.
Hello, Chief. I really appreciate this. First of all, I want to make sure it's recognized in our minutes that the school, this partnership that we have with the school for the SRO officer is a 50-50 split. So they're kicking in money as well as we're kicking in money, which is a great partnership. I think this is a great program. My kind of question is, I know that goes into the general fund. That's why I was looking for the finance director. And then it comes from us. And somehow, I don't know if there's a contra account of some kind. I'm not as familiar with government accounting as business accounting, but is there a way that, you know, it can get posted into the police budget or at least footnoted in the financials so that anybody who's reading the document realize that this is a 50-50 split? That's all I'm asking.
So thank you, Councilmember Pizzillo. It is a 50-50 grant for the 10 months that school's in session. However, I believe that there are separate orgs, as we call them. They get set in reference to where that money lies and how it comes out of there. We have to keep track of it also on our end of the police department, because if it's holidays or if it's while they're out of school, then it's not obviously functioning as the 50-50 split.
Okay, then maybe a footnote or something within our financial when that audit is done, because I think it's important that the public realizes that this is an excellent partnership between us and the schools. And, you know, to me, I think it's great that we've reached that, especially with issues that are arising out there currently with the PD. So the fact that the schools are working with PD, and I know you build excellent networking through the schools to try to avoid any issues of happening. So my hat's off to you and the school of arriving this. But if any way we can footnote that, I think it would be greatly appreciated.
And if Mayor, if I could just add on to that, thank you, Councilmember. It does go into general fund revenues,
Right,
but
I
I'll work
understand
with a finance director to see how it might be footnoted to reflect that agreement.
That's all. Okay. Again, I appreciate the efforts on that with you and the school. I do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
What, he's got
Bill?
Well, Chief, while you're sitting there, it's on number 7.
Okay.
In reading the material, this was a grant that we received back in June, and we're being asked to approve it tonight, and it's already been accepted.
Yeah, so this was a grant that came up pretty quick for us. And it's in reference to obviously the COVID-19 and the coronavirus funding that we have. So this grant is good for 2 years initially. So it actually started back in January of 2020 and it goes to January 31st of 2022. It has been accepted and has been through. We had a very short window to work with to get this grant through the DOJ and to get that approved, I guess you would say. So in that aspect, and then with council's calendar and obviously going on the summer break and so forth, it took us a little bit to get it, you know, onto the calendar, but
But we knew
probably-
about this in June.
yes, I believe we did.
So it previous to you, previous to Julie, the city manager, I've made the statement before and I'll make it again. I do not like approving things after the fact, after we've already accepted it. I just want to be back on the record for that, having not changed my position on approving things after the fact. And I think we had time between June 9th and the time we left on July 13th to get this on our calendar. Obviously, going through it, it's not a reflection of you, Chief, and it's certainly not a reflection of the city manager. It's just, it is what it is. But I don't think it's a practice that we want to say, well, we got it through once, let's try it again. I want to be on the record to say I'm not comfortable doing that. Fortunately, it's for a really good cause and it's for quote unquote free money, so we'll take it. But I didn't want to appear inconsistent over the statements that I've made over the last 10 years, so thanks.
No, duly understood and noted. Thank you.
Any more comments? Then can I have a motion, a second, to approve item 1 through 20? So do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Campbell and a second by Councilman Pizzillo. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, there are 3 public hearings on the agenda, so keep me straight, guys, on the voting, all right? Just raise your hand if I miss it. So the first public hearing is an item to consider a request for a use permit for a convenience use financial institute with a drive-through within the PAD of Planned Area Development Zoning District, subject to stipulation. I'm opening the public hearing, and Katie Wilkin, Planning Manager, will present. Katie?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I apologize as I get situated here. As was stated, this is a request for a use permit for a financial institution. The subject property is located at Pebble Creek Marketplace, which is at the southwest corner of McDowell and Pebble Creek Parkway. It was originally zoned in 2007 and amended in 2014, and it is designated a commercial property with a PAD overlay. The PAD overlay requires a use permit for financial institutions that include a drive-through, which is why we're here tonight. It's situated on a 1.2 acre parcel, and this will facilitate the development of a SunWest Federal Credit Union site, which includes a 4,500 square foot building. Also provided was the site plan with the landscape plan, as well as the color building elevations, which meet the regulations for the PED in the center. The use permit did go through the public process. We are still currently under our alternative citizen review process with the COVID regulations and emergency declaration in place. However, through the citizen notification and Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, we haven't received any inquiries regarding this case. We have found that it's compatible to surrounding uses, it meets the city's codes and regulations, and there have been no objections. Staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval subject to stipulations. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any
Thank you.
questions.
It says here, is your applicant here with us tonight?
Yes, I
All right, would
apologize.
they
The
like to
applicant
speak?
is here. He's in. He did not have a formal presentation, but was happy to answer any
I
questions
think
or address
maybe he
concerns.
went out to get him. Is that what, I think that I saw Christopher go outside. So we'll wait a moment. Good evening. I'm sorry, could you bring that closer to you and speak close to the microphone? Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that.
How's that?
Yes, great.
Okay. I'll start over. Jan Middlestead Cooper Architects. I'm here to answer any questions about the project. Seems like it fits great in the neighborhood. SunWest does a great job with their projects. This is the third one we've done for them. And if anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming.
No problem.
Are there anybody on the line that wants to speak?
I have no speaker cards or emails.
No emails or comments?
No.
All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I have a motion, a second, to approve the use permit for Convenient Use Financial Institute with a drive-through within PID zoning district, subject to stipulations? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Kano and a second from Vice Mayor Stipp. Open for council discussion. Councilman,
Loretano.
she was here, I looked here first. Councilman Campbell? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you for coming. Am I too early in asking this? Have you worked out the entrance and the exit for this credit union? Will they be using the Circle K entrance? Are they going to use the Panera Bread entrance? And to exit, are they going to go out behind Circle K?
There's actually, Circle K is to the upper portion of the screen.
Right.
We come in off of Pebble Creek Parkway and go quite a ways into the site before we turn into the north entry. And then on the south side, we can get in by Panera, but again, we're quite a ways away from Pebble Creek Parkway, so it's a safer condition. It's
Right,
already gone through site plan.
But it'll be easy in and easy out is what I'm getting
Right,
at, because that's it's gonna start getting congested. 'Cause that's a very popular
Sure.
corner right now. Everyone loves Panera and they love Circle K and they're
Right.
gonna love your credit union. Thank you very much.
Any other comment? Yes, Councilman Loretano?
I want to thank you for coming. This is good that you're having a drive-through. A lot of banks have gotten rid of drive-throughs, which unfortunately now is necessary.
That's
So
their feeling, right?
I like the fact, and this is better than the one that's on mine,
Yeah,
that you
it
can
is.
see that it doesn't block any parking, because I know that's a problem with some of the drive-throughs, that it seems to block
Right,
as if they get too many lanes. So I appreciate the layout, so thank you very much.
of course.
Any other comments?
Sure.
Well, welcome. Oh, Councilman Hampton,
Oh.
sorry.
No, I would say this is a long time coming. I've seen this credit union particularly grow and move and grow and move and grow and move. So it's been a long time coming. So I'm happy that they're able to get the larger facility. And I know they have a lot of members. That's why they're growing. So
They're a good outfit.
yeah. So thank you.
It's an idle spot. You can see it from I-10, you know.
Yep.
We have a lot of traffic in the north and south, so I'm sure you're going to be very successful there.
They're excited about it.
All right, great. All right, council, we're going to vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
You bet.
The next public hearing is to consider rezoning MF-24, that's the multifamily, with a PAD, Planned Area Development overlay for Cabana on Bullard. Going to open the public hearing. Planning Manager, once more, Katie Wilkin will be presenting. Katie?
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. This public hearing is to consider requests to zone property from C2 to multifamily. The property is located at the northwest corner of Bullard Avenue and Van Buren Street. It's just over 10-acre property. It is designated as business and commerce by the general plan, but multifamily is permitted in the business and commerce land use category as long as it's located appropriately, such as having direct access to arterial roadways. There's also a transit-oriented development overlay on the general plan, and the purpose of that was to encourage higher densities and higher building intensities along Van Buren and McDowell so that we could create more activity in these corridors. The current zoning is PED and it allows a mix of uses. The property is designated for general commercial, which is similar to the C2 commercial district. There was a site plan approved back in 2008, but the project didn't move further than site plan approval. And again, this request would zone the property MF24, but would propose modifying some of the development standards. The first being MF24 has a maximum density of 24 dwelling units per acre, and this proposal is for, I believe, 33 dwelling units per acre. However, it is in the transit-oriented development overlay, and so it does meet the general plan goals and objectives to have higher densities in these areas. They have also requested reducing the parking standards. After staff review, we recommended this could be done. There is a stipulation that requires they keep their site plan and the unit count the same. They have a lot of studio apartments in this apartment complex. And so with those stipulations, staff was comfortable with the requirement. They also did request reducing the setbacks to the arterial streets. After review, this would give it a more urban feel. And again, for the Bullard Avenue corridor to make it look more like business park and more activity, it did seem appropriate that in this area that could work. There is no single-family residential surrounding the area, so it is a unique condition than maybe other apartment complexes that we see. This would facilitate the development of the Cabana at Bullard property, which they did go through the rezoning process for a site near Civic Square several months ago. And if you look at the site plan, it's a similar concept where they have little pods of development. And then they have a different, Like I said, they have more studio apartments, they have a central laundry facility, and different unique amenities than some of the other apartments we've seen in the area. A conceptual site plan was provided, and as you can see, the different pods, one pod being a pool, and then other types of central amenities in the other pods. They also provided elevations, which you can see, which are a more modern-looking elevation. Again, this went through the alternative citizen review process. We did see, let me see, we did receive one email to recommending voting no on this project, and that's all it said. It just simply said vote no on this site. It did not provide reasoning for objections. It just said vote no. Other than that, we haven't received any objections to the proposal. Staff has found that it is consistent with our codes, and the requests to amend our regulations are consistent with the general plan. Staff and Planning and Zoning Commission recommend unanimous approval. That concludes my presentation, and the applicant is here available.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak? I think we all know Ed Bull.
He's actually provided a written comment. If,
Oh, he
He's
has?
given us the written ones, yeah.
Would you like me to just read the comment, or did you want to? It's up to you.
Go ahead. All I said is Ed Bull, 702 East Osborne, representing Greenlight. The essence of the email that I sent in is we're pleased with the recommendations from the commission and the staff. We accept the stipulations. The only new item of information I have is the person who sent the email we worked and worked to find, and he eventually called me on a different case. And as best I can tell, he's not a neighbor. He's somebody who's, I think, involved in the industrial construction business or something, and doesn't like anything other than that. He, of course, is entitled to his opinion, and I respect that, and visited with him. But as best I can tell, he's not a neighbor.
Thank you
So-
very much. Thank you for your words.
We request your approval.
Are there any email comments?
No, Mayor.
All right. I'm going to close the public hearing. Will the city clerk please read resolution number 2020-2083 by title only, please?
Adopt resolution number 2020-2083 declaring as public records those certain documents filed with the city clerk titled Official Supplementary Zoning Map number 20-04, Cabana on Bullard Legal Description, and Cabana on Bullard MF-24 with planned area development, PAD, overlay development regulations, May 8th, 2020.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, a second, to approve resolution 2020-2083? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Loretano and a second by Vice Mayor Stipp. Open for council discussion. Councilman Loretano.
Thank you. It's a really nice project, and I do like the fact that the pod system that it has. You know how is there any child like tot lots on this?
Not tot lots per se, but there's a whole host of different
Other stuff.
amenities.
Okay, because you know how we feel about having those covered, so I couldn't quite tell what those all were. My eyes are going, so. No, I think it's great, and Skyway Church owns the land next to it? Who owns that? Oh, they do?
To the left of it.
To the,
Right
to the
west.
west
It's-
of it.
Yeah, Skyway Church
Skyway
property
Church.
is right
They
here.
own
They
that
own the
land.
property, but it's
Okay.
vacant. The church isn't on that portion.
Okay, so that wouldn't be single-family homes either, ever?
No, I believe it is zoned C2 commercial.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, I like it. Thank you.
Next. Conversation. Yes. Councilman Hampton. I can't hear a word you're saying. Thank you.
Just the exit, the driving in and out. So it looks like it's the exit only north there, and there's a median right there that'll block someone from going left there. You can only go south there, is that correct, on that northeast?
Thank you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, but I believe the primary entrance is this one. You can see there's a median break planned. And
Exactly.
then this secondary entrance and the one on the north are exit only.
Correct.
So to enter the property, you would use the main entrance only,
Okay,
but
I'm
you
just,
can exit on both.
okay, just thinking the flow of traffic. I mean, when Skyway's having church or other things going on around the area with more traffic, just want to make sure there's plenty of space to get in and out there, because it's fairly close to the light, but, okay, and then we said there aren't any, I see some of the amenities here. I guess I didn't see the definition of all the amenities. I see a pool, but there's no kids. What kind of kids areas, I guess, are there for it? I see the grass, but
Mayor, may I respond? Or maybe it was directed
Yeah.
with
whoever
Mayor,
has the
council.
answer, yeah.
I'll start with the response. There is a stipulation that requires them to provide the amenities as they depicted them to us and to the public. And those include an indoor fitness center, a community pool, a community barbecue area, an outdoor fitness area, a clubhouse, zen and hammock gardens, bike storage, courtyards, and outdoor paths. And they have to be in substantial conformance with the landscape plan, so it shows where those paths are and depicts the conceptual, the amount of amenity that's provided.
Okay. Yeah, those things are nice. I guess the only concern, I mean, I'm sure there'll be families in here, so I don't know if, like the other development we talked about, if there needs to be a tot lot or something like that in here, but I'm sure the residents there who have kids would probably appreciate that, so.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm going to interrupt on this one. So normally when you start a project like that, you shop of what your customer is. We never get that shared with us, and I think if sometimes we knew that you would understand that a tot lot would only use if somebody had a grandchild or something like that. So is that true?
Yeah, the mayor, councilman, if I can back up just a step, has been discussed, these buildings, pods, quadrangles, whatever you want to call them, each one of them in the interior has a themed set of amenities that's going on in the interior of each quadrangle,
Okay.
in addition to some other amenities that are in the clubhouse and so on. There is not a tot lot that's proposed here. Green Light, as you're familiar with, has been in business for a number of developments here in the valley. They're very familiar with their tenant profile and what amenities get used and don't. And those amenities, as you know, come with not only a capital cost, but an operational cost. So they are tenant specific as to the type of amenities that they're looking for. Katie ran through a list of them. We can get into my PowerPoint if you want, but we have some vignettes of different amenities that goes into the different quadrangles. But there's a wide variety of things for people to do in this development.
If I may, Mayor, Council, to add to that, the staff, we know this is an important issue to council, so staff did press the applicant on providing a tot lot. And because of the size of the units, that really is what dictates there's not many families. And because of that parking issue, we do stipulate that the maximum number of two-bedroom units they can have is 60.
60. Yeah.
So again, that's going to limit the amount of those larger units because of the parking issue. And that's why staff felt comfortable bringing this forward to you without a tot lot component.
Okay.
Laura?
I'm sorry. Thank you. I think it's a really creative project. I think it's a good location for it. I think it will definitely contribute to the urban feel. I'm glad you mentioned the parking issues because that is a concern. Not only are the number of spaces significantly reduced, but the size of spaces. And so I was curious about the tenant profile or maybe some of the demographics that go into making that decisions because there is no on-street parking nearby should you have insufficient parking.
Whichever would like to respond. Go ahead.
Mayor, council member, the bedroom mix, as I think you know from the staff report, is approximately 114 studios, 162 one-bedrooms, and as was mentioned, only 62 bedrooms. The parking standards that are requested here are standards that come from, actually they're Phoenix's standards that has moved toward an urban look and feel earlier than some of the other cities have gone to. So the parking count number, the stall size number, and so on is proven in the field to work and work well for this particular type of tenant profile. It tends to be people who are working. It's what Greenlight refers to as attainable housing. So it's very nice, and it's well amenitized, but it's not a tenant that's going to have 3 cars for a studio apartment. So they're confident. In fact, we have more parking provided for on the site plan than what the stipulation would require as a minimum. So there is some additional opportunity there if somebody is going to have more than 1 car. So it's a parking standard that Greenlight has used and is used successfully and is confident will work here. And I believe, don't hold me to this because it's been, what, a year or so, city manager, but when we were here on Civic Square, we were, I believe, using the same parking standard there as here, if I remember correctly.
Thank you. And maybe this question is for you, Katie. We have, because of all the deviations from the development standards for this project, are we in any way setting up a precedent that could be applied to future multifamily development?
Thank you, Council Member. Staff's opinion is we wouldn't be setting a precedent. This is a unique site. One, there is a general plan designated of transit-oriented development over it, which is why staff felt many of the deviations were justified. So if there was another development within that TOD overlay, it may be fair to make comparisons. The other unique aspect is there's not single-family residential adjacent to this property. It's separated by other properties and also the wash. So again, we felt comfortable with the deviations because there's not a single-family development right next door that people might try and park in and walk over, causing, concerns in a neighborhood next door. So because of those primary unique conditions, we don't believe that's setting a precedent for other multifamily developments. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, then we're going to have a roll call. So may I have a roll call, Council?
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Will the city clerk please read ordinance number 2020-1475 by title only, please?
Adopt ordinance number 2020-1475, rezoning approximately 10.25 acres of land located at the northwest corner of West Van Buren Street and North Bullard Avenue from the PAD Planned Area Development Zoning District to the MF-24 Multifamily Zoning District with a PAD Planned Area Development Overlay, amending the zoning map of the city of Goodyear, providing for non-abridgment, corrections, and severability, providing for an effective date, and providing for penalties.
Thank you. Can I have a motion second to approve ordinance number 2020-1475? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Campbell and a second from Councilman Hampton. Open for council discussion. I'll just say something. I like the diversity. I like to diversify, and I think that is one of those communities is going to be that. And if we continue to build the same ho-hum for our city, it's rather boring and it doesn't meet the needs of all this population. It's coming from California, it's coming from the Midwest, it's calling over. And so I think this is a great interest to our community, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, then we're on the next one you're going to read. Just a minute. I put the page over. So are we on the next
23?
Adopt ordinance 2020. Did I lose my way?
We're actually on item number 23.
On the
It's
page, the next page?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, okay. Would you read that, please?
We have to do a public hearing. So we already did the resolution and the ordinance for 22, so now we're on to the next item, 23. And we have to start with the public hearing.
Oh, I thought that she did on both, okay. So we're at 2020-2081?
23.
Yes, but she needs to do the public, we need to do the public hearing, and Katie needs to do the presentation.
Okay. Call public hearing?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. And this is a presentation for both the rezoning public hearing case and the preliminary plat case, which is after the rezoning case, if it's okay with the
Yes, thank you.
council. So this is for development known as PASEO Place. It's located at the southeast corner of Yuma Road and 183rd Avenue. And catty corner from it, this was formerly known as PASEO Place Parcel 2. There is another PASEO Place Parcel 1, which is located catty corner. But that's going to be combined with the La Privada development and known as La Privada. So this will now just be known as PASEO Place, which is nice because it was confusing with the two different PASEO places. This development is approximately 80 acres, and it's currently zoned R16 with a PAD overlay, which allowed for the development of 60-foot wide lots. The request is to rezone this to R14 and remove the PAD overlay. In the city zoning ordinance, and I should say they're doing the reduced R14, which allows you to do a slightly smaller lot width and a slightly smaller side yard setback. And according to the zoning ordinance, in order to justify the zoning, you have to provide for 2 amenity elements, 4 connectivity elements, and 4 streetscape elements. So I'm going to go through how they're demonstrating compliance with those elements. For amenities, there's 2 required. They are providing a full-size basketball court and pickleball courts, which will be lit. We do require some, field amenities, but we do not require lighting them, and they're providing more than the minimum required. For the connectivity, we do consider this an infill development because it is in an area where there's already infrastructure, planned infrastructure and surfaces. They are providing trail system connections to a publicly accessible trail, so it's not only limited to the HOA, as well as the Maricopa Trail runs along Yuma Road. For lot diversity, at least 30% of the lots are going to be 50 feet wide. So again, under the R14 reduced, they can go to 40 feet. At a minimum, they get a point if they go up to 5 feet, but they went ahead and went 10 feet additional. So there will be a mix of lots of 40-foot and 50-foot wide lots. Also, they've designed it with no subdivision perimeter wall, so that has a more open feel and there's more connectivity to the adjacent trails. Finally, for the streetscape, and I'm sorry, I'm pulling some of my notes. There's 4 required. They will be providing detached sidewalks, so there'll be a landscape area between the street and the sidewalk. They will be using alternative paving materials, so some kind of paver at the entrances, so it has a sense of place and entry. They will be doing decorative streetlights, which they will be owning and maintaining. And they will be incorporating the West Goodyear theming, which was basically set by Las Brisas. Again, because of this area isn't one master plan community, staff's been working through with all the communities to try and create a larger sense of place and theming for West Goodyear. So we've requested that these developments adopt the Las Brisas theming with the little white picket fence and some of the colors so that, again, there's a more cohesive master plan community feel to the area. And that little picture is a snippet of one of the large shaded covered areas that's in Las Brisas that they will be providing at this location as well. Again, the site is 80 acres and they will be proposing the development of 295 lots and 22 tracts. The preliminary plat does provide the elements that the zoning case required them to provide. And again, we did noticing per the alternative citizen review notices. The applicant did host a virtual neighborhood meeting. However, nobody from the public did attend the meeting, and we haven't received any feedback. Staff has found that the proposal, both the rezone and the preliminary plat proposals, meet all the city's codes and ordinances. We haven't received any concerns from the public, and both staff and the Planning Zoning Commission have recommended approval of both cases. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy
Thank
to
you.
answer any questions.
All right, let's vote on this. Can I have a motion, a second, to approve ordinance number 2020-1474? I need a motion on that.
Merrick, sorry, that was, you're in the middle of a open,
Boy, I'm
You have
really
to
back
close-
to my old ways, aren't I? I'm sorry, what?
and the applicant's here too. But he did send comments and I can read those or.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any comments? Does anybody?
I don't have any email comments besides the one from the applicant.
Yeah, and we don't have a, there about comments on this.
Yeah, just the applicant's comments.
Oh,
And Mr. Bull is here if there's any questions,
Yeah.
I believe.
yeah, bring the applicant up. That's fine. I'm sorry. Ed,
Mayor Council,
Mr.
Ed
Bull, I
Bulls.
apologize.
Oh, you were on a roll. I don't want to slow down the train if it's moving in the right direction. If you all are ready to make a motion for approval, I'm ready to be quiet. If you need something more from me, I'll be happy to
I
make a
think we are.
presentation.
Does everybody around this table feel that way? All right, let's have a motion, please, and a second. Motion?
Mayor, I just need you to close the
You gotta
public
close the
hearing then.
hearing.
I'm lost again. I'm closing this?
Yeah.
All right. Now what do I do?
Now I have to read the resolution.
Okay, go ahead.
Adopt resolution number 2020-2081, declaring as public records those certain documents filed with the city clerk titled Legal Description for Paseo Place Parcel 2 and Supplementary Zoning Map number 20-02 and Paseo Place Parcel 2 Conceptual Landscape Plan dated July 15th, 2020.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and second to approve ordinance number 2020-1474 by,
So moved.
I heard a motion by Stipp. The second was Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Yes, Councilman Hampton.
I think it's a good project. I like the openness to it. I had a question. Is the 181st, that's still a dirt road, correct? It's 181st? It's 181st Street there? I think it's still dirt. I don't know if anybody, Katie probably has the answer to that.
183rd?
181st right here, the one that's on the east border of the property.
We have someone here that's going to answer that. Go ahead.
I noticed there's no roads, or no walls for the perimeter. I've never walls in the neighborhood, in the actual houses themselves. But I was just curious how the feel is going to be if I'm using that path along there. So I think there's a farm road right next to it, and it looks like County Island to the east of that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, Council Member. Yeah, this property is county property. There may be a dirt road there, and I apologize, I don't know, but there's no access to it from this development because it is for the county residential, and that road is under county maintenance.
Yeah, I didn't think it was paved. It didn't look like it here. I was just clarifying to myself if I was in that neighborhood what that would look like or feel like. So,
Seems to me you had people questioning that a long time ago
well, it reminds me of
when when they were planning all these pockets.
there
So,
was that one neighborhood over by Las Brisas where they didn't like access.
yeah, yeah.
They didn't want people,
Same thing, yeah.
kids coming into their neighborhoods, and
There was
that's
that,
what
there
their
was
farm
that gate,
animals.
they didn't want them, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want that gate there, and then they wanted it closed off.
Right.
So, but we didn't receive any negative comments, it sounds like, from the public. So I like the feel of it being open, especially if the neighbors are completely, I mean, there's only a few neighbors there anyway, and they're not even near the canal either, so, okay. Yeah, I was just curious, I was just trying to get a better feel for it. But I like the overall
Good.
feel of the neighborhood. So no real questions, just just wanted to clarify on the road there.
It's turning into a nice area over there, I think. Wally?
Well, that happens to be an area that I'm very fond of. We have worked on this for the 9 or 11 years I've been on council. We've been talking about that area, and it's great to see that it's developing, and it does have a wonderful urban feel out there. And I love it that they're not going to have any perimeter walls, that they're going to be open from one development to another, and we have different developers developing homes that are somewhat similar, but not really, and it's really very nice. So thank you, and thank you, Mr. Bull, for coming tonight.
You're very welcome. We
And so out of curiosity, is this the 16 group that came a long time ago? I can't remember the number. So it's been on since 2005?
Yeah, we had no
Uh-huh.
water.
part of.
And
part
so
of- I'm sorry.
I'm actually thrilled to see that it's maturing and people are building in it and we're having good communities. And I agree with Wally. I like the versatility of the different developers and builders. I think that's healthy. But also I've talked to several people where people are very happy that have bought houses in any of those areas. So doing a good job. So thank you. So
Something, Mayor, and others that's going on here that kind of weaves in among some of the questions or comments is all along that eastern perimeter, as you can see, is open space in the sense of there's a channel and a walkway along there, but it is permanently separating these homes from the county homes to the east.
and yet it
Which
gives you that country
we
feel.
think is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Any other comments? All right, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Hi.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the business. I'd like to remind council.
Actually, Mayor, we have the
Boy,
ordinance
I
now.
am
we got
just,
an ordinance,
I
yeah.
am so behind in this. You should have come over and
A month
showed me
off
the
for-
way.
yeah.
I needed it tonight. All right, so we're on page 7 at the top?
Yes.
Okay, that I figured out. All right. So you're ready to read the ordinance?
I am.
All right.
Adopt ordinance number 2020-1474, conditionally rezoning approximately 80 acres of property located at the southeast corner of Yuma Road and the 183rd Avenue alignment, known as PASEO Place Parcel 2, from the R1-6 Single Family Residential Zoning District to R1-4 Single Family Residential, amending the zoning map of the city of Goodyear, providing for non-abridgment, providing for corrections, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, and providing for penalties.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 2020-1474? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Heard a motion from Vice Mayor and a second from Councilman Loretano. Council discussion? Kind of we did it ahead of time, didn't we? Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, now we actually are down to business. I'd like to remind council to wait for the motion a second before discussion. Our first item in business is consider approving the preliminary plat for PASEO Place Parcel 2. Katie, you're still on, so you're welcome again.
Thank you. I don't have anything else to add to the presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide any other information.
Said here, if Mr. Bull would like more comments, he can certainly take this moment for that.
It's been my pleasure to be here, Mayor. I wish you all well.
I appreciate that. All right, can I have a motion, a second, to approve the preliminary plat for PASEO Place Parcel 2, subject to stipulations? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Campbell and a second by,
Pizzillo.
he had such a little voice. Councilman Bazzillo. Okay, open for council discussion? Do you have a discussion? Okay. No discussion? Okay, let's vote on. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You.
Bill, how are you? You all right? Okay. So let's go to the next item, the business to consider the preliminary plat for El Cedro Parcel 4 and 5. Katie will be presenting.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a preliminary plat for 2 parcels within the El Cedro development. The properties are located east of Cotton Lane and south of Lower Buckeye Road. The property was included in the 2014 preliminary plat, which subdivided the entire parcel into single-family developments. However, the south portion of the property has been purchased by Vida Communities for the development of a single-family rental project. That rezoning was approved by City Council, and so now they're in to replat the area from the single-family lots to facilitate the development of the single-family rental project. The previous preliminary plat did include access between parcel 4 and 5 because it was a single-family development. However, this new one will not include access, and so this trail just continues. The north parcel doesn't have any significant changes besides that one I pointed out. Otherwise, parcel 5 is included as a single parcel to be developed as the multifamily development. The preliminary plat has been found to meet our required ordinances and codes, and Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval. That concludes my presentation, and I am not sure if there's an applicant on the line.
Oh, he's raised his hand. Would you like to come
Okay,
forward?
sorry.
There we go.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Benjamin Tate with Withy Morris, 2525 East Rosen, Biltmore Circle, on behalf of the applicant. Delighted to be here, answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, we appreciate the recommendation of staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Well, we thank you for coming. Any comments, any questions for him while he's here? Okay, is there any comments on, oh, all right.
I just got a quick question.
Councilman Hampton.
What is that? Is that a trail between the 2 plats there? Is it a dirt trail? What kind of, is that an amenity? Is that a? No, between the 2 there.
This here,
I know you mentioned there was
I
you
believe
called
it's
it
a power
trail.
line with a
Yeah.
trail, but let me see if I can.
I bet it is.
It's the West, I can't remember the acronym, it's the Western Association, it's the WAPA
Yeah.
Power Company. So there's a large set of overhead lines, but underneath it there is a walking trail, a landscaped walking trail that will run from one end to the other.
Okay, and then I know it's also next to the county island right there too. Is that dirt road that's east of it? That's not part of the property, right? Will that still remain dirt, or are you guys modernizing or putting gravel or road on that eastern border of that, or is that just a wall there?
I believe it's paved.
Is it going to be paved there?
On Cotton Lane?
No, this Cotton's to the west. I'm talking to the east.
I'm not sure the condition of the road, but
Yeah,
there won't be any improved, that's a county-maintained roadway.
Okay, I was curious where
So
the
this
split
developer wouldn't, improve that.
I jog through there pretty often, and it's like bumpy and just dirt, so I didn't know who had control of it, if it was this property or the county. So I was just curious what that would look like when it was all said and done, that's all. Doesn't look like there's an entrance from that point anyway, so it's probably a moot point, but just curious. And then the southern one falls out onto Elwood, right across from the KPS Global type area, so. Okay, I just in general, like I said, I'm trying to understand the feel of the neighborhood and what it looks like to the surrounding community. So no real questions, just clarification. So, thank you.
Any other? All right, are there any comments online? All right, can I have a motion and second to approve the preliminary plat for El Cedro parcel 4 and 5? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I heard a motion from Vice Mayor Stiff and a second from Councilman Kano, was it? All right, so let's vote on it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you for keeping your city moving in unprecedented times.
Oh, thank you. We love doing it. All right, number 26, next item on business to consider approving a preliminary plat for Cotton Flower Marketplace lots 1A-4 and 6-9. Katie Wilkin presenting.
Thank you once again. This preliminary plat is proposed at Cotton Flower Marketplace, which is located southeast of Cotton Lane and Yuma Road. It is an already existing shopping center. They wish to just subdivide the property so that they can have different ownership of the various different lots. There were previously minor land divisions processed on the property, which are an administrative level approval. However, there's a limit to how many minor land divisions you can do on a property before you trigger the full preliminary plat, final plat subdivision process. This preliminary plat doesn't include the whole center's boundaries. 2 of the original parcels are not included, as you can see outlined by this figure here. However, that remaining portion will be subdivided into 9 lots. This preliminary plat was found to be consistent with all of our codes and ordinances, which includes our new commercial lot sizes that council approved several months ago. There have been no inquiries on this project from the public, and both staff and Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval.
Good, thank you. Are there any email comments?
No, Mayor.
All right, can I have a motion and second to approve the preliminary plat for Cotton Flower Marketplace, excuse me, lots 1A-4 and 6-9, subdividing approximately 10.27 acres into 8 lots, subject to stipulations. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Hampton, and I heard a second from Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion? I think we've had it all, haven't we? So let's vote on. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Katie. Number 27, the next business item is to consider amending Chapter 16 of the Goodyear City Code. And Katie is going to once more present to us. Katie? You know, it says Katie down here, so.
Do you want it?
You look,
Trying to get out.
you're looking different now, Katie. I'm sorry, they didn't have your name on, so.
Hi, Steve Cinto, Deputy Director of Engineering. Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Can you hear me okay?
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here this evening. I'm seeking approval of an amendment to Chapter 16 of the City Code for flood damage prevention. Some quick background. Goodyear is a participant in the National Flood Insurance Program, or NFIP. The NFIP is a program administered by FEMA that provides subsidized flood insurance premiums for property owners within participating communities. Earlier this year, FEMA made some changes to the NFIP that require the city to update our flood damage prevention ordinance in order to keep our current status within the program. The updates are administrative in nature and consist of revisions to the definitions and terminology, the removal of several obsolete sections, and the addition of a section addressing Goodyear's statutory authority as floodplain manager. All proposed changes were cross-checked with the applicable engineering standards and building codes, and no updates to those documents were required. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments on the emails?
No, Mayor.
All right, will the city clerk please read resolution number 2020-2992 by title only, please?
Adopt resolution number 2020-2092, declaring as public record that certain document filed with the city clerk entitled Amendment to Chapter 16 of the Goodyear City Code.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2020-2092? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Kano. I didn't hear, and a second from Councilman Hampton. Open for council discussion. Councilman Sipp.
Completely unrelated to the subject, Steve, I wanted to congratulate you on your promotion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Will the city clerk please read ordinance number 2020-1478 by title only?
Adopt ordinance number 2020-1478, amending Chapter 16 of the Goodyear City Code, providing for corrections, providing for severability and penalties, declaring an emergency, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and second to approve ordinance number 2020-1478? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Campbell and a second from Councilman Hampton. Open for council discussion. Oh, it was you.
Yeah,
See, I
big deal.
can't tell when I'm reading, so just wave me
We
down.
all have tiny voices.
Yeah. No, you don't have a tiny voice. I have a tiny ear. Okay, so with the motion or the second?
I had the second.
Okay, Councilman, Vice Mayor Stiff had the second. Open for council discussion. All right, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, the last item of business is to consider approving agreement from the judicial services with the town of Guadalupe. Court Administrator Crystal Whalen will present. Crystal?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. Welcome back from your break. We've missed you. I'm sure it looks a little different here. So this evening, I'm presenting on behalf of the court in recommendation of an intergovernmental agreement between the town of Guadalupe and the city of Goodyear. This unique agreement would allow the city of Goodyear Municipal Court to accept jurisdiction of a limited number of post-adjudicated cases filed prior to July 1st of 2020. To tell you how we got here, in May of this year, the Maricopa County Superior Court Office of the Presiding Judge contacted Judge Galindo and I to explain that due to the unanticipated effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the town of Guadalupe Municipal Court would cease its operations effective June 30th of this year. Guadalupe and Goodyear being part of the integrated judicial branch of the state of Arizona, we operate on the same financial and case management systems. And so Superior Court made the inquiry with our court if we had the ability to take on this limited number of cases, which are, again, in post-adjudicated delinquent status. The judge and I evaluated the request and determined that these cases would require processing in an administrative nature only. The cases are already set up on a statewide automated payment processing system. It's a statewide program run by the Administrative Office of the Courts. We are already trained and capable of using the database coming from the Guadalupe Municipal Court. And we estimate that it will take Goodyear Court staff no more than 1 hour per day, and this is a high estimation, to process anything administrative related to these cases. This includes doing the financial deposit to finance each day as well. So while the court is currently experiencing longer courtroom dockets due to our need to socially distance and set capacity thresholds, these cases are processed in an entirely different manner and will not have any negative impacts on our current operations or our processing times. The following potential benefits were evaluated in addition to looking at this proposed agreement. The Goodyear Court staff will utilize the Administrative Office of the Court's database created for Guadalupe, which we are fully trained in. And therefore, we have the ability, because the database is separate, we just changed the login. We have the ability to fully track all case processing and financial activity with no mixture between Goodyear and Guadalupe. So this affords for accurate data tracking. There are no initial costs to the setup of this agreement or to bring on the agreement because all the equipment exists. There's only the estimated staff processing time that I just went over. Goodyear will receive an initial payment of $23,000 in court enhancement funding, and we will retain all future revenue, which includes additional court enhancement funding, which is used to fund our court security position and unanticipated technology needs. We will receive all municipal gap, fill the gap funding, which we use to fund staff currently. Judicial collection enhancement funding, which we use to fund staff currently. All future FAIR, this is the program where these automated payments are being receipted from automatically. so we'll receive all future quarterly disbursements. This funding is used, Goodyear Municipal Court is currently the pilot court for a program called Online Dispute Resolution, which is funded through the FAIR program, and also Zoom, which we are using, in addition to any other general fund revenues that come in. The FAIR program also gets deposited as a general fund revenue to the city of Goodyear. This agreement has an initial term of 3 years and will be reviewed to ensure that the agreement does not create a burden on Goodyear taxpayers for the costs associated with these judicial services. Additionally, the data will be detailed specifically in the court's annual presentation to council to keep you apprised regarding the progression of the agreement. Additionally, new data that was not in the car, the judge and I have been reviewing case filings, and Goodyear has most recently evaluated our downward trend because of COVID. Our case filings in Goodyear are down about 61%. So to kind of compare, this is 610 cases that don't have to come into court that we are looking to accept. And Goodyear Court, we're ranked 13th out of about 82 municipal courts, where we generally see 10, 12, 13,000 charges a year. So this 610 is very minimal, but will make up, hoping for some of these lost revenue sources, because our caseload was 378 last month alone. So it's dropped substantially because of the impacts of COVID, which is nationwide. It's not just Goodyear. So with that, Judge Galindo and I are both here to answer all of council's questions regarding this proposed agreement. We do have Karen Westover, who is the Regional Director of Maricopa County Superior Court, on the phone. And for these reasons, the judge and I respectfully recommend that mayor and council adopt the resolution for this intergovernmental agreement.
Thank you, Crystal. That was a good presentation, very
Thank you.
detailed. You covered everything.
Thank you, Mayor.
I think for some of us that are not familiar with the program, that was well done. Can I have a motion, a second, to approve resolution number 2020-2080? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Loretano, a second by Councilman Vazillo.
Mayor?
Open for council discussion.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Councilman
Mayor, I have to read it into the record,
Vazillo? Okay.
but I think we can.
Are there
I
any
can do it now.
comments? Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So adopt resolution 2020-2080, authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the town of Guadalupe for judicial services for cases filed prior to July 1st, 2020.
Thank you very much. All right, now can I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2020 by, was that Councilman Loretano and Councilman, the second by Councilman Hampton? All right, Council, you're on. Discussion, Councilman Vazillo.
I appreciate your can-do attitude, Crystal, picking up some things, and my understanding, you're not the only court that can do this, but they've asked you to do this. I do have some concerns, though. You have about 11 authorized positions. And if we count the judge, we count you, and we count the person out front on security, that's 8 support staff. If I remove the person who retired in February, roughly about a year, we've had 10 positions turn over in your department, which is greater than 100%. That concerns me because that's lack of institutional knowledge. You take on new stuff. I guess with the pandemic, part of the issue is your cases are down, so maybe that helps a little bit, but really I'm concerned about the turnover rate. Any comments?
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Pizzillo, for that question. Judge Galindo and I ourselves have reached out to Human Resources to dig a little deeper into our turnover. We'd like to understand a little more about that high turnover rate. That issue aside, we're very confident that this intergovernmental agreement would not negatively impact even at our reduced capacity. And I can allow Judge Galindo to elaborate further as our head of HR as to some insight into the turnover.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. I know we're your last item, so we will be brief. The courts specifically nationwide have been dramatically affected by COVID-19 and the very broad application of the CARES Act. And so in having received the information that you requested, Councilman Pizzillo, it brought, of course, to light the people that had turned over and et cetera. So what we'd like to do, and we welcome the opportunity for all of you to discuss specifically why we've had that turnover rate when we have the information from HR regarding the determination and the labeling of each person that has left. The administrative portion that will be handled for the city of Guadalupe will not impact us in our ability to continue providing this core service to your constituents. That will not be an issue at all. And we will dig deeper because we need to determine, aside from the forms used by HR, how these determinations and classifications are made. And then once we do have that, along with the Human Resources Department Director and each of the personnel files involved, we would welcome discussing those with you in an appropriate forum.
Thank you.
Councilman Moritano. I want to thank both of you for, as Councilmember Pizzillo said, the can-do attitude to go out and, try to help out, and also helping out another court for whatever reason. It sounds like they will be shut down or they will not be proceeding. My concern obviously is not really with this program per se, because right now you're at a low capacity, but from what I'm hearing rumors that you're not the only court, and we're not the only one that has a backlog of cases not charged. But it doesn't mean those are not going to be charged. Knowing that we have this time now to get people up to speed, do we have a plan when, I hate to say, the floodgates open? Because I've heard 5,000 to 7,000 at the county possibly. What's our floodgate plan?
I'd actually, thank you for that question, Councilmember Lawrence. I actually love to answer it. We have been very fortunate in our approach. It's as fancy as me keeping a legal sheet, and I structure every single docket. We did this from the very beginning. We are actually, because we go all day, Monday through Thursday and some Fridays, and we also have our pretrial conferences happening from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. twice a week. We have kept everything moving. Pretrial conferences, which are meetings between the defendant and the prosecutor, used to happen in tandem to court. So now they work a different scheduled prosecutor's office, so they can get actually those held before, and it didn't impact the docket. It worked out very well. They're doing them telephonically. They're knocking a bunch out in the morning. So we stayed essential. We kept moving. We switched really quickly to remote appearances. So we're really only setting out to mid-September at this point because we have been so aggressive in keeping moving and training staff. I've clerked with Judge Galindo myself on days. Like we have been very fortunate to be quick on our toes, and our staff are very adaptable. So we are not in danger of being backlogged because
when they come for charging, you guys are set.
Yes.
We were actually, if I may, very strategic in how we scheduled these matters so that we would make sure that we would continue providing the service in spite of the backlog. There are a number of courts that have been unable to do so. But with that trustee legal pad and daily conferences,
really fancy.
every time there's a continuance, we plop somebody in there. I have had to work in the electrical room, doing orders of protection, working in our conference room where you have your executive session, but nothing stops us because we know that it is very important for us to continue working as we are so that we are not opening those floodgates, so we can make sure that we provide these core services to every single person here in Goodyear. So we're very proud of that as well. If you'd like, Ms. Westover is also available regarding why they reached out to Goodyear Municipal Court for our assistance. If you're still there, Ms. Westover?
I am. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Well, we reached out to Goodyear for a couple of reasons. The first and most important reason was our confidence in both Judge Galindo and in Crystal in being able to handle the post-adjudicated cases and knowing that they could handle them the way we would handle them if Superior Court had jurisdiction to handle them. And so we had great confidence in their abilities and their reputation. The next factor was mentioned by Crystal, which was we needed a Aztec court, not just somebody that had a different case management system. We did reach out to Tempe, and they took all of the cases going forward because they didn't have to be in the same case management system. But we needed somebody with the same case management. So those were the two reasons that we reached out to Goodyear.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I just want to say that if you find the floodgates, please let us know so we can see if that's a problem, because I think this is going to be I think you guys have a handle on it, but just in case, just keep us up to date.
Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, Councilman Hampton?
No, I think this is a good idea to help Town of Guadalupe. I just had a question around the financial too. So it looks like we'll be covered along the way, but we can only use dollars from them for security and technology. And will there be a point where we
No,
can't
you can
use
use
it for
those
that?
dollars for any purpose.
For anything?
Any purpose.
Any purpose. Okay. I just looked in here in the fiscal impact. It was talking about restricted revenues equal to the cost received and intends to use those funds for additional technology and security. But I was just curious if we're not restricted to only use it for those. We can use it for anything.
Thank you for the question. The court enhancement fee, by definition, by ordinance, stipulates that, but the intergovernmental agreement allows us to use it for any costs associated with the case processing. So they put that language in the agreement. I may have misworded it in the CAR, but it is in the actual IGA.
Okay. So we think we'll be equal. We'll be all things equal. We won't be a shortfall, or we won't be able to use money for actually doing the cases and things like that.
Yes, especially with the fair revenues and the Fill the Gap and the Judicial Collection Enhancement Fund.
Yeah, I see those two. Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
I think I had the same question, so I just want to be perfectly clear. In the CAR, and I think you indicated you may have not nailed it correctly, and that's okay. The CAR says that the funds cannot be used for general fund expenditures. I'm not quoting it exactly, but basically the money comes into the judicial fund and then but it cannot be used. It's not general fund money.
Vice Mayor, yes, thank you. So it comes in as court enhancement, municipal Fill the Gap, and judicial collection enhancement, which are generally court restricted funds, but the agreement allows the court to use to recoup the costs, any costs associated. And in our evaluation as well, we saw this as an opportunity to bring in that initial funding source, because when I'm forecasting and looking at what's happening with case filings, that revenue source is accounted for current positions, and so in the calculations, it seems to wash out in the end, if that's probably not the proper term,
But it does, and I think that's the point of clarification I wanted to make, because the CAR made it appear as though we were going to have an expenditure, a general fund expenditure of $30,000, but we were going to receive a virtually equivalent amount, but in these restricted funds, which general fund money is taxpayer money, restricted funds is court money. So I wanted to make sure that we weren't putting the burden on the taxpayer. And what it sounds like, the agreement is not doing that.
correct. The agreement does allow us to expend those funds, and we don't have to go through any special approval process. It's just like when we use Goodyear's court enhancement, that's authorized by council's authority, and we just have to work with budget to properly budget our account to expend them.
Julie, would you like to comment?
If I could add, I think that it may be splitting hairs, but I think it is important that it is very clear that the money, it does not come into the general fund. The money is going into court restricted funds. However, you're then able to use your court restricted funds
however you see fit. But I do want to make sure that the car, was worked on very carefully with the city's budget team to make sure that it is accurate and that the funds are not coming into to the city's general fund.
Thank you, Julie. And that's why I added the information that it's not in the car, but when I presented to you that we would be including this in our annual court presentation to keep you updated, to assure you that we are monitoring the use of Goodyear resources and how it applies to processing these cases.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Councilman Hain?
So just for clarification, you'll have that 610 or so cases, and then once they're through, then you're done?
Exactly. Thank you. It was 610 as of the end of June, so we're hoping it's maybe dwindled down a little more if folks have been more compliant. So
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any other comments? I think it says something about Goodyear. It says that they care about our state and care about surrounding cities. And we hear all the time about the surrounding cities and the difficulty they're having. And we're so fortunate. And so many of them, their budgets are so small. And with the tourism being taken away from them, it's just a struggle. So thank you for being so astute and articulate on this and bringing it forth. And I agree, we always have to, as my husband used to say, as a pilot, you got to check 6. So you got to always remember that you're going to be okay. And you have an alternate plan, but good on you. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're done. I go do a roll call. I know it. My council's so nervous. I've made a few little mistakes this evening, but that's usual for me. So I'm not going to say it's unusual. So let's do a roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Okay, information items, anything the council wants to give? But I'm sure you are, Ali. I looked at that list. You've been busy.
Oh, yeah, I have been very busy, but I'd like to take a moment, if I may, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the mayor and council, our city manager, the department, the different departments in the city of Goodyear, the Goodyear Fire Department, Maricopa Ambulance, Goodyear Police Department, Goodyear Human Resources, Mayor and Council of Buckeye, Avondale, Surprise, El Mirage, Glendale, Litchfield Park, and Peoria, as well as the National League of Cities, the Women in Municipal Government, Skyway Church, Palm Valley Church, Desert Springs Community Church, Pebble Creek Homeowners Association, the Pebble Creek Pickleball Club, Pebble Creek Care Bears, Arizona Patriot Guard, Luke Air Force Base Honor Guard, Assistance and Healthcare Board for Cancer Treatment Centers of America, All Faith Community Services, Leadership West, and the many, many residents and friends who showered my family and I with love, phone calls, kindness, support, flowers, cards, text messages, meals that were provided, picking up the family at the airport, and the lovely hand-painted rocks each day at our door. Words cannot express how deeply we appreciate all of your kindness during our time of need and sorrow with the passing of my husband, John.
So nice. It's the community coming together, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, it makes you sit back and think of what a quality value we have in the community that we live in. The people come to the door and they come to help your spirit, and it certainly takes that. So I think all of us were glad to do what little we could do, and we're still here. And having gone through the same thing and still within that time frame, I can understand where you are. And again, we all offer anything we can do to help. We're here, okay? And thank you for noting that. Okay, City Manager?
I don't have anything official. Just want to say welcome back from break. It's great to see all of you.
Yeah, it is. I really appreciate it. So the next meeting will be a regular meeting on August 31st, 2020 at 6 p.m. No further business. This meeting's adjourned.